Honestly, I'm sick of people that I used to work with trying to get into my notes, my barbecue notebook. So now I'm just going to share it with everyone. Hey guys, welcome back for another video. In today's topic, we're going to be going into my barbecue notebook that I've had since working at Terry Black's. So usually when I work at places, I usually get two responses. I get a bunch of people that I think I'm taking it too seriously by taking notes, and then you start to meet like other guys who are newer to barbecue, and then all they want to do is like peek into this thing like there's some sort of secret. There's really not that much anything new here, and if you guys listen to like all my other videos or watch my other videos, I mean, it's basically the written form of that in this notebook. But I think it is kind of fun to look through certain things because even when I look at this, I try to think about where my head was at when I was learning how to barbecue in the beginning, and just kind of like the steps that I took and what things I thought was really, really important back then, and kind of how I evolved in how I used to take notes or what things I think about now. And I was looking through it the other day and I was just kind of laughing. So I figured, why not make a video of this and share this with everyone? Before I actually get into sharing what's going to be inside the notebook, I just want to make certain things kind of clear. It's not necessarily that I don't want to share certain information with you guys, but at least in the majority of the front half of this notebook is processes exactly from the places I worked at. I personally don't feel like it's my place to share those processes with you exactly as they would do, because it's not mine. And even though a lot of my stuff is very, very similar to what they do, because my cooks are basically built off of the places I've worked at. But if you guys are like, oh man, well, why isn't it Joe's just showing us the whole page like he's trying to hide something? I'm really not. I'm just really trying to respect the places that I've worked at. The stuff that I share with you guys in Barbie Talk videos or other cook videos are me explaining why I do certain things and why I don't do certain things based off of what I've seen anyway. So context and information that you get from me directly is me sort of giving you guys the version that I think works best. Okay, so this is literally the very first page of my notebook. In the very first corner right here, I just have, I usually have brisket, beef ribs, pork ribs, turkey, and the numbers that we have to do. And then we have 5 pits at Terry Black, so those are the 5 pits. And in the beginning, I was only responsible for 1 pit as I was just trying to learn. So I would always box the one that I was responsible for. So this is the very first day, and I was only working with 1 pit. So really just trying to keep some, a log of what I'm doing, when I try to do stuff, small things like, picking out certain types of wood, maintaining a certain temp, spritz after 1 hour, which again I don't do anymore. There's a lot of different things that I had right here, and it's really funny because the very first thing or diagram that I drew was doing the foil tips, because that was the one thing that I don't know why I couldn't do it on that first day. All right, another day. So again, we have the same numbers, and I abbreviated it because I was tired of writing everything out. And then this time I was in the front instead of the back, and I only had 1 pit, and I was just doing pork ribs that night. So everything that's in blue, I kind of went back the night after and added extra notes in the margins for myself. So this is just like a small breakdown of what I did next to the hours. And this part's really funny because, we weren't cooking that many ribs, and I wrote about 9 to 10 bottles of barbecue sauce per pit, and I boxed this with this arrow, and I said, so again, when I was working the overnight shifts, I just wasn't getting enough sleep. So sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself. At the end right here, you can see we bumped up the temps really, really high for one of our pits, because one of our pits just wasn't as great as the other ones in the beginning, because we were trying to break it in. And then I was just talking about how, we had to bump it up because it was, 225 was too low, and it was, probably too cold outside. So yeah, you're always just kind of adjusting and doing some, different things as we go. Okay, so I didn't do this all the time, but in the beginning when I first started, I kind of did a recap of my week of work and just kind of basic brisket cook. And I wrote down all the stuff, and look, man, and then I got these stages 1, 2, and 3, and what I'm looking for during those times. This is just kind of stuff that, you know, I always had to tell myself as I was new to it, and I needed to make sure that there are certain things that I needed to pay attention to. Adding wood when opening at the pit door often, and this was because you know, based off of the date, you know, this is early in February. It was really cold outside, so you know, anytime you open the door, it's going to take a really long time for the temp to kind of come back up. And then lastly, don't get worked up, calm down, fix the problem rather than thinking about the situation sucks. You got this. So a little bit of positivity right there. Okay, this one's funny. So even though the other page I had 2 boxes because I was working 2 pits, but you know, the turkeys happened much later, so I wasn't really manning 2 pits at a time. So this was the first time that I'm running 2 pits, and again, I circled the stuff that I was looking at. I got the date, I got what we're cooking. But as we started, I got the one we first put on the ribs, and then obviously first day running 2 pits was too much to handle. Where are the notes? So I got better with that, but yeah, it's pretty funny that happened. And then same thing the following week. So, you know, it just takes some practice. Okay, so at this point, I kind of changed the format of my notes because now that I was manning multiple pits at this point in time, just had the number of pits, so I know like at that time which one I was working with and what was happening. And then so as kind of go through the timetable, you see a bunch of like number 4, and then there's a bunch of 1s and 2s. Yeah, it's just kind of like you kind of go through the timetable. You can log each pit by looking at that and by looking at the specific times. And then you might ask, like, well, why don't you just have like a certain time log for each pit as you go? And then I just said, hate this format, so I never went back to it. So it just made more sense for me to create a schedule that was going in order through time, not just based off of each pit, because it got flustered by doing that. Just in case anyone was wondering. Okay, so this is much later in the year, so this is in June now. At this point, I didn't do any boxes anymore because I realized that, you know, after a certain amount of time, you have the ability to watch all 5 pits. And I guess, you know, it wasn't just me, but then you kind of just help each other out to make sure everything's in order. And you can see that, you know, as my notes aren't as super as detailed as before, and I think that just kind of goes with you just getting better at it and knowing what things are important. All right, so this is a cook recap. Again, a purpose is write down stats for each cook, you know, cross-reference with previous cooks to see if steps need to be changed, and as well as look for things to keep note of. Also leave space for questions to consider. Yeah, I'm always trying to, you know, again, I have all these notes right here for the ribs. I have all these specific notes and bullet points for my sausage. This is the notes for the beef ribs. And then this entire, you know, page right here is for brisket. Yep, even more back there. Ooh, this was a good one. I remember doing this because this was what I did. I'm a nerd, man. This is what I did in my free time. I basically wrote down things that I really liked or didn't like about certain some famous places. Like Franklin is one, so you know, I wrote brisket, ribs, pulled pork sausage, all sides, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. Atmosphere of Franklin. So Franklin was this. I did one for a lot of barbecue because that was one of my favorite places early on, and then it's kind of started to slide on me. So you know, I did the whole thing again. Terry Black's, obviously I could say a little bit more because I knew everything what they were doing there. One of my other favorite places at Micklethwait, Truth Plating. So this was something that I was looking at because I was considering working for Truth at this time, and so I wanted to go into that interview knowing what I was getting into and let them know that I knew what their place was about or based off of what I've seen. So this was something that I felt like I needed to do for homework for myself. So this was after I got my job at Truth, and we were doing our first cook, so we went through the entire trimming process, you know, and just kind of had a little diagram from there. We're talking about different seasoning and stuff like that. We're talking about all of the pits that they have there, you know, the cook and stuff like that. But, you know, in all reality, like, this thing was kind of bust because we had no idea how difficult it was going to be to cook in that pit room until months and months in. And so we were really, really frustrated at that time. So I honestly don't mind showing you guys all this stuff because it's like, it doesn't matter. And it's just, yeah, didn't work. So pit room eval. So we went through all this stuff and said issues. And I know we had fixes, but it's like probably things that we thought could help it be fixed. And like I said, man, that pit room is rough, and the fact that they are able to pump out amazing food like they are now out of there is like super awesome. Months later, new stacks, because we realized one of the things that was messing it up is our stacks were too short because they weren't reaching the top of the building, so a lot of the wind was hitting the side and basically like going back down into the stack and shooting outside the firebox, which made our pit room extra smoky, which was horrible. I hope you guys enjoyed that kind of just quick look at, different things that I think about, and how I used to take notes and what things I was paying attention to during cooks. And people ask me all the time, like, do I need to take notes when I cook barbecue? And honestly, probably not. You're someone who can just kind of pick things up and you're more about hands-on. Like, you might not need to. You just might need to cook more. I like having these kind of notes because like I was reliving those kind of cooks all over again, and I remember those times when we were having certain discussions and who I was talking to and where we were when we were doing it. So, I might still do things if I consistently not getting the quality of product that I'm looking for. And then I really have to start evaluating like small little details of things. I would say if you guys are just cooking, once a month or twice a month, then you might want to take notes because you might not necessarily remember what you did. The reason why guys in barbecue restaurants are so good at what they do is because we do it every day. If we mess up the day before or something that we need fixed, then we can do that the following day. So that's it for this video, guys. If you found this video interesting, let me know in the comment section below. Tell me what you thought was cool, what you thought I was missing, what things that you want to add into your notes, and also if you have any other questions for me based off what you saw. But yeah, if you guys like this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.